Manchester United exists in a paradox that seems surreal to many supporters. On-field performance is declining, yet revenue continues to grow. When the Glazer family arrived at Old Trafford in 2005 to take over the club, they were escorted by police. Outrage over the acquisition by the American billionaires reached a boiling point, with fans clashing with officers and shouting against the new owners. Concerns about United's future under foreign ownership also stirred unease in the corridors of power in the UK. Government ministers sought assurances that the Glazers would remain committed to the community. Meanwhile, at the top of English football, Premier League CEO Richard Scudamore sought an unequivocal commitment to the continued collective sale of TV rights, wary that the new American owners might try to break the model that had worked so well. At that stage, few were worried about debt, and why would they be? The club was debt-free before the takeover, but with the acquisition carried out via a leveraged buyout, huge sums were borrowed to fund the deal, which the club then had to repay. Suddenly, United faced a $702 million debt, which concerned some commentators, although contemporary articles did not give it much emphasis. In 2005, I was working at the Times, and I don't recall a single sports journalist saying that United being taken over via a leveraged buyout was a good idea. Everyone warned against it, said Kaveh Solhekol, chief reporter at Sky Sports News, in a 20-year retrospective of the deal in 2023. Although hardcore fans have never fully accepted Glazer ownership, concerns were temporarily overshadowed by success on the pitch. Young talents such as Cristiano Ronaldo and Wayne Rooney developed into world-class players, leading the club to 3 consecutive Premier League titles and a Champions League victory. Financially, the first 5 years under the Glazers were marked by strong growth, with revenue rising from $304 million to $466 million. The downside was the debt, which grew due to the high interest rates charged by banks, up to 14.25%, as the leveraged buyout model was untested in football. By 2010, the club decided to restructure its borrowing, issuing bonds to pay off the higher interest bank loans. This eased immediate pressure, but pushed gross debt over the $1 billion mark, prompting fan protests and campaigns such as Love United, Hate Glazer. Sir Alex Ferguson's success still masked financial concerns. However, his retirement in 2013 began to erode the stability that had balanced the high borrowing risk. Since then, United has not claimed a Premier League title and has rarely shown the ability to compete at the very top level. Yet revenue continued to grow impressively. 5 years after Ferguson's departure, thanks to aggressive commercial expansion, the club was bringing in around $760 million. However, legacy debts and financial obligations remained, even with the 2012 U.S. stock market flotation boosting the coffers. The COVID-19 pandemic caused a $154 million loss in 2021, and debt hovered around $600 million. In the post-pandemic years, the club spent around $850 million on transfers since 2020, partly offset by player sales, but the financial strain was becoming evident. Minority shareholder Sir Jim Ratcliffe warned that the club faced financial difficulties and that without cost-cutting measures, it could have run out of cash by the end of 2025. Still, United continued investing in new players such as Benjamin Sesko, Brian Mbeumo, and Matheus Cunha, even cutting smaller expenses like staff lunches. With historic debt, high operational costs, and stagnating revenue, increased borrowing was almost inevitable. Recently, the club's net debt surpassed the $1 billion mark, drawing on revolving credit facilities. The past 20 years show that, despite astronomical debts, Manchester United has consistently managed growth and continued spending, in periods of both success and failure on the pitch. Perhaps the club is simply too big to fail, though many have thought the same before everything came crashing down.